He never celebrated like he needed you to notice. He never told you he was the best. He never gave you a speech, never pointed at himself, never demanded your confirmation. He just played. And somehow, that quiet made the world louder around him than almost anyone in the history of sport. This is a psychological analysis only, not a judgment of his career. Today, we go inside the mind that did it all in silence. But before we go deeper, Ronaldo or Messi? Drop your answer in the comments right now. One word. That is all I need. I read every single comment personally, and the most interesting answer gets pinned at the top. And if you watched our Ronaldo video, this one will hit completely differently. Hit like if you are Team Messi. Subscribe so you never miss one. Now, let us go to Rosario, Argentina. Lionel Messi grew up in Rosario, Argentina, the third of 4 children, in a working-class family. His father worked in a steel factory. His mother worked in a magnet manufacturing workshop. By the time he was 10 years old, it was already clear that something was wrong with his body. He was significantly shorter than children his age, and the gap was not closing. Doctors diagnosed him with a growth hormone deficiency, a condition where the body does not produce enough of the hormone needed to develop normally. The treatment was straightforward, daily injections. The cost was not $900 a month, far beyond what his family could manage. Newell's Old Boys, his local club, refused to pay. River Plate showed interest, but also declined. Then Barcelona sent a scout. The club agreed to fund the treatment in exchange for signing the 10-year-old boy they had watched play for 20 minutes. At 13, Messi left Argentina, left his mother, his siblings, his neighborhood, his entire world, and moved to Barcelona alone with his father. Psychologists who study children who face physical limitation early describe a consistent adaptation. When the body cannot be fully trusted, the mind compensates. Not through force, not through aggression, through a heightened internal awareness that most people never develop because they never needed to. Seeing the past before the space opens, feeling the movement before it begins, processing the game 3 steps ahead of everyone on the pitch. The limitation built the gift. In the last video on this channel, we talked about Cristiano Ronaldo, a man driven by an engine that runs on external validation. Other people's doubt, other people's applause, a wound that achievement could never fully close. Messi is the psychological opposite, almost exactly. He has never publicly claimed to be the greatest. He rarely seeks conflict. He gives short, deflecting interviews. He consistently redirects credit toward teammates. After winning the 2022 World Cup, the greatest achievement of his career, he said, "This is for everyone, for Argentina." Psychologists call this an internal locus of control. The deep belief that outcomes come from inside you, not from what the world confirms about you. Where Ronaldo's motivation lives in other people's reactions, Messi's motivation lives somewhere the crowd cannot reach. The feeling of the game itself, the internal experience of playing well, the private satisfaction of a pass that arrives exactly where it was meant to. This is why debate rolls off him, why comparisons don't seem to land, why he looks unbothered in a way that Ronaldo never quite does. Not because he doesn't care, but because the scoreboard he checks is not the one the world can see. But here is what most people missed. For most of his career, Messi vomited on the pitch before international matches. Repeatedly, for years, his body was expressing what his face never showed. The composure was real, but so was the pressure underneath it. Psychologists describe this as high-functioning anxiety, the ability to perform at the highest level while carrying an internal storm that never shows up on the surface. For years, Argentina's World Cup failures landed on Messi personally. A nation's frustration channeled toward one quiet man who accepted it without deflecting it. He retired from international football after the 2016 Copa America final, only to return weeks later. That decision tells you everything. The internal locus of control that made him so psychologically stable also made it impossible to walk away from something unfinished. Other people's opinions could not make him stay, but his own internal standard, the private scoreboard only he could see, would not let him leave. For most of his career, Messi was described as a poor leader, too quiet, too withdrawn, not vocal enough in the dressing room, not the captain who gives a speech, not the player who screams at teammates. Then came the 2021 Copa America. Then came the 2022 World Cup. And the world saw a different kind of leadership. Psychologists call it referent power, the ability to lead not through words or authority, but through the quality of your presence. When Messi ran, his teammates ran harder. When Messi fought for a ball, the entire team raised its level. Not because he told them to, but because his standard became the room's standard. This is the leadership style that psychology consistently finds in internally motivated people. They do not need to perform leadership, They simply operate at a level that makes others want to rise. When Argentina won the 2022 World Cup, Messi did not roar. He did not point at himself. He did not look for cameras. He dropped to his knees and cried. That single moment tells you more about his psychology than any interview he has ever given. The tears were not triumph, they were release. The release of a boy who left home at 13 to make his body grow, who injected himself every night so he could simply keep up with the other children, who carried a nation's expectations in silence for more than 20 years. The trophy was never about proving he was the greatest. It was about finally completing something that had felt permanently unfinished, something the internal scoreboard, the one only he could see, had been tracking since the beginning. Where Ronaldo's trophies are answers to a question that the wound keeps asking. Messi's World Cup was the moment the question finally went quiet. Two players, two childhoods, two completely different psychological architectures. One needed the world to confirm him. One needed the world to finally leave him alone. Both became the greatest, and maybe that is the most important psychological truth in all of this. There is no single engine that powers greatness. There is only the wound you were given and what you decide to do with it. If this video changed how you see what drives the best in the world, share it with someone who needs to hear it. Subscribe to DJOE Psychology, Deep Think, new video every week. See you in the next one.